Chapter 1. I figured I'd struck it lucky when I first laid eyes on Eden Archer. She was sitting by the window with her back to me. I could just see a slice of her angular face when she surveyed the circle of men around her. It seemed to be some kind of counseling session, probably about the man I was replacing, Eden's late partner. Some of the men in the circle were grey-faced and sullen, like they were only just keeping their emotions in check. The psychologist himself looked as if someone had just stolen his last Zack. Eden, on the other hand, was quietly contemplative. She had a flick blade in her right hand, visible only to me, and she was sliding it open and shut with her thumb. I ran my eyes over a long black braid and licked my teeth. I knew her type. Had encountered plenty in the academy. No friends. No interest in having a mess around in the male dorms on quiet weekends when the officers were away. She could run in those 3-inch heels, no doubt about that. The $40 manicure was her third this month, but she would break a rat's neck if she found it in her pantry. I liked the look of her. I liked the way she breathed, slow and calm, while the officers around her tried not to fall to pieces. I stood there at the mirrored glass, half listening to Captain James blab on about the loss of Doyle to the Sydney Metro Homicide Squad and what it had done to morale. The counselling session broke up, and Eden slipped her knife into her belt. The white cotton top clung to her carefully sculpted figure. Her eyes were big and dark, downcast to the carpet as she walked through the door towards me. "Eden," the captain motioned at me. "Frank Bennett, your new partner." I grinned and shook a hand. It was warm and hard in mine. "Condolences," I said. I heard Doyle was a great guy." I'd also heard Eden had come back with his blood mist all over her face, bits of his brain on his shirt. "You've got big shoes to fill," she nodded. Her voice was as flat as a tack. She half smiled in a tired kind of way, as if my turning up to be her partner was just another annoyance and what had been a long and shitty morning. Her eyes met mine for the briefest of seconds before she walked away. Captain James showed me to my spot in the bullpit. The desk had been stripped of Doyle's personal belongings. It was chipped and bare, save for a black plastic telephone and a laptop port. A number of people looked up from their desks as I entered. I figured they'd introduce themselves in time. A group of men and women by the coffee station gave me the once-over, and then turned inward to compare their assessments. They held mugs with slogans like, "Beware of the Twilight fan," and "The world's biggest arsehole," printed on the side. My mother had been a wildlife warrior, the kind who would stop and fish around in pouches of kangaroo corpses for joeys and scrape half-squashed birds off the road to give them pleasant deaths or fix them. One morning, she brought me home a box of baby owls to care for, 3 in all, abandoned by their mother. The men and women in the office made me think of those owls. The way they clustered into a corner of the shoebox when I'd opened it. The way their eyes howled black and empty with terror. I was keen to get talking to people here. There were some exciting cases happening, and this assignment was very much a step up for me. My last department at North Sydney had been mainly Asian gangland crime. It was all very straightforward and repetitive. Territorial drive-bys and executions and restaurant hold-ups, fathers beaten and young girls terrorized into silence. I knew from the media hype and word around my old office that Sydney Metro were looking for an 11-year-old girl who'd gone missing and was probably dead somewhere. And I'd heard another rumor that someone here had worked on the Ivan Milat backpacker murders in the 1990s. I wanted to unpack my stuff quickly and go looking for some war tales. Eden sat on the edge of my desk as I opened my plastic tub and began sorting my stuff into drawers. She cleared her throat once and looked around uncomfortably, avoiding my glance. "Married?" she asked. "Twice." "Kids?" "Huh." She glanced at me, turning the silver watch on her wrist round and around.